All right, everyone. Our last example of solving a linear equation is going to be where we have fractions. So fractions generally are kind of scary, but let's see if we can make sense out of this and maybe they're not going to be so scary anymore. Okay, so here's my equation. So I've got yeah, 3/4 x plus 5 equal to -4. And so that's what I'm trying to solve. So again, the first thing I do is I isolate the x terms. So I have the x term over here on the left hand side. So I want to get rid of that plus 5. And the way I do that is I would subtract 5 from both sides. Remember, do it on both sides. So what that is going to do is give me that 5 and -5 canceling out, and the 3/4 x is by itself on the left hand side. On the right hand side, I got -4 minus 5. Well, again, remember when you are have two negative numbers, you kind of like you got to think, add them in your head and then put a minus. So 4 plus 5 is 9, and then we put a minus, so we get -9. Okay, so the next step is to get rid of the 3/4, right? The 3/4. X says, okay, I want to be by itself. Everything else has to go. All right, so how do I do that? Well, I got to get rid of the 3/4. And remember, this is really multiplication here. The tricky part is how do you get rid of it? You can divide both sides by 3/4, but you could get confused with dividing a number by a fraction. What the heck does that mean? Parentheses and all that business. So whenever you're trying to get rid of a fraction, think multiplying by a reciprocal. So what does that mean, reciprocal? Reciprocal is a fraction that is exactly the same as the original one, but you just switch the top and the bottom. So it's not that fancy. So you're just gonna get the 4 on the top and 3 on the bottom. And when you do that on one side, you have to do it on the other side. Otherwise, again, there's not gonna be a balance. The new equation may not be the same as the original one. So what does that do? Why am I doing that? Well, what that does is it basically gets rid of everything here. So 4 cancels with the 4, 3 cancels with the 3. We don't have that fraction anymore. So we have the x that we wanted. What about on the other side? Okay, so it's -9 multiplied by 4/3. How would you do that if you had to do it in your head? Well, you think of -9 as -9 divided by 1. And when you multiply fractions, you multiply them straight across. So you're basically going to multiply -9 by 4 and 1 by 3, which is just 3. Okay, and so 9 with the 3 can cancel, and then they'll give you a 3 over here. So -3 times 4, that's -12. Now, if you found this too much, use a calculator. Never hurts. Okay, so even if you think you know how to do it, so you just do -9, and then you multiply that by 3, or was it 3 over 4 or 4 over 3? I think it was 4 over 3. Yeah. All right. So, oops. So this would be 4 divided by 3. Yeah. Okay, so that's -12, so we got it. So if you don't want to do this in your head, that's fine. Okay, so this is my x, and I think that's my answer. The last step is to check. So remember, we cannot skip the check. So what's the check? We take that -12 and gonna plug it in for x wherever we see it, and we have to put it in parentheses. Don't forget that. So 3/4 multiplied by -12 plus 5, is that equal -4? Yes or no? Okay, well, let's check. So let's go ahead and see if we can put in the expression. So I've got -3 divided by, actually, I was going to put it in parentheses. That would be nice. So I've got, what is it? 3/4 minus 12, right? Let me try to see if I can put it side by side here. With the calculator, so I can see what I'm checking. Okay, so I've got 3, and then I have divide that by 4. Okay, multiplying that by -12 and plus 5. Okay, that gives me -4, which is what I wanted, because -4 is equal to -4, which means that I am done.